Hi everyone. It's Wednesday and tomorrow I'm going to present the first seminar for the Caravan Camping here in Adelaide. I thought, I might as well do a dummy run on my presentation on YouTube and Facebook and just show you what it's going to be like. I won't go into detail now because that's going to be later on where I'm going to take this slide deck and just one by one spend more time specifically on them, specifically on RF Shop contents. But for this case, I don't want to show you what I'm going to do so that you have a view tomorrow when everybody else sees it for the first time. It's going to be online as well. Obviously, the first one is FAQs. The goal for this video or this whole presentation is actually just to present or go through some frequency asked questions that I get. I have 20 minutes in total. I'm not going to spend this video 20 minutes, don't worry about it, but just basically what are the questions I get and just want to address those. So rather than me telling people what to do, I'm just going to say, this is what I hear. And this is typically the question I want to give. Of course, my presentation tomorrow is not so much product specific. I'm not allowed to sell the product, so I'm going to be a bit more high level, a bit more hypothetical. But on this video, I might just slip in what product I'm specifically thinking about in this case. A question I get, a lot of people ask me, what do you do when you're not at the Caravan and Camping Show? Well, because you are online, probably know RF Shop. Well, we work on solving internet solutions and internet problems. So that's it for this slide at the moment. So all I want to say, and you hopefully know this by now, for me, that the antenna and the cable is, in my perspective, the most important part. Because if that's not correct, you can have a really bad system. But I did get a question on Facebook recently. Why would you want to have internet when you are going away? You don't want internet at all. But it's not just that one individual wants to go camping to get away from everything. That is a perfect example. But there's a list of people, and I'll just go through the list. I'll just fast forward the slide itself. Social media, big time. Streaming TV. Everybody has streaming options these days. So there's just a list. Just want to show this is in principle any of these would be through the internet. So you can go streaming TV. Remote workers, or if you're longer away, I mean, if seasonal travel obviously looks at a year, you want phone, you want email, you want browsing, you want Skype, WhatsApp, all there. So you just want to have that available. And that's what the internet is for in my case when you are remote. Not um, how would you get internet in remote places? Now, there's many discussions. A lot of people know about them, but I just list the three high-level techniques. Going from most expensive to the obviously least expensive is free Wi-Fi. But satellite, there's many options on satellite. We're not a specialist on that. I'm not going to claim I'm a specialist. I'm just putting that out there that satellite is a way to get internet. Mobile broadband, or basically Telstra, Vodafone, Optus, heaps of options. That's the one that I spend the most time on because I think that is the most useful at the moment. I am saying at the moment because watch the space, I guess, in Australia that 5 years from now, it might be a completely different story. And I'm very much aware of that and a bit excited, I guess. Um, do you need to worry about technical terms? It's a question I guess I get a lot, and this is where I have to, because I have to kind of spend a bit of time on this. The first topic for me is you have to understand the difference between voice and data. Voice, in basic terms, is your phone number. So somebody calls you on a phone, that's through a voice network. So it's not necessarily data. Data network to me is all the other options. Skype, WhatsApp, Facebook, email, browsing, all those are data. And I think that's the much bigger picture that needs to be important there. I mentioned this because there's going to be a feature specifically that only allows you through voice, which are, I mean, boosters, self-fi boosters. That gives you access to a better voice connection. But that means you have to get a self-fi. If you don't have the budget for a self-fi, then you have to cut somewhere. And the first thing I think that needs to be cut is voice. So if you say, I just want data to be better, you actually have a whole raft of options to fix that option or that problem. Then quickly, what is Wi-Fi? Very short. I have a limited time. So it's the small, short range or very limited house or business or building kind of internet connection. What is 3G, 4G, and 5G? Bear in mind, this video is meant to everybody that's going in the caravan and camping society. So I'm just saying it's the third, fourth, and the fifth generation of mobile internet. That's what the G stands for, generation. And it's just going through as they get better at it. A question I do get as well is device, will my device still work? Like I often talk about 4G, 4G modems, 4G antennas. It does work because it's backward compatible, and even more so on the antennas. We specifically look at antennas that cover the whole 4G band, so it's not an issue. But still, it's there as a question to be asked, and I will keep answering that question. I don't mind. It's okay. It's not forward compatible though. So if you have a 4G antenna, the 4G phone, 4G modem, that's not going to get you 5G. So don't look forward, but you can look backward. Next one is still the same slide topic. Do I need to worry about technical terms? I have it into why, what, why, and how. I create a triangle because to me it's just kind of there's three requirements. They're kind of conflicting. What do you want to do as a user? You want to be mobile? Do you want to have the best speed, bandwidth, throughput, whatever word you want to use? You want to have the best distance, so long range. So you're middle of nowhere. There's really something 10, 20 kilometers away. So then distance is the most important thing to you. So the question that I have is, what is the most important thing to you if you want internet connection? Do you want to be mobile? Do you want to have best speed or bandwidth, or are you going to be much, very far away from your? Comes to the next slide then, which is that same triangle again. Just speed it up a bit so that it just converts to what actually is involved here. Mobility to me becomes an omni, because an omni is total freedom. If you want speed or best bandwidth, you need to go for a proper MIMO antenna with 2 cables, the whole setup. That's going to give you your best bandwidth opportunity. If you have a long range requirement, directional antennas, Yagis or lock periodics, or just high gain in general, that's what you need. And that's very simple, but that's the three groups that I create for myself. And then what type of system do you use? You have boosters, you have cradles, and you have modems. More about that in the next slide, or next set of slides. A question I hear a lot, what is a 4G antenna? Now, it's a loaded question, and it's also very dependent on what does the person on the other side who asked the question actually implies by asking. What does he know? What does he not know? So I have to go a bit into nerd mode for myself. It's a device that can collect radio waves, because you would know there's radio waves. An antenna takes the radio waves and is able to receive it and convert it into a usable electrical signal that your modem can then use to do all sorts of things with it. That logic applies to whatever you do, UHF, 4G, 3G, GPS, the list goes on. What makes it a 4G antenna though? It's 4G because it operates in that frequency band. So our network operators have a 4G allocated spectrum. This antenna operates in that spectrum. That makes it a 4G antenna to me. Again, there's more to it, but just keep it simple. That's my key words. Now, every wireless device has an antenna. Every 4G wireless device has a 4G antenna. But internal antennas are, I would say, weaker. That's the word I would use. It's weaker because it's compact in design. People don't want to see antennas. So you have the nice little fancy boxes. I have my phone here. The antennas are small because people want it to be small, compact, and hidden. Sorry. But it's also on my table. So a 4G antenna is on my table in this building. I want it outside on the roof. So that's just why internal antennas are often considered weaker. And then I come to this point where I would say you get an external antenna connected to, if I could hypothetically connect an external antenna to my phone, I'd be better off. Can I? No. Question. How do I connect my antenna to my phone? I might have prepared this, but first thing is, and I mentioned this earlier, voice versus data. If you have a voice requirement, your options are limited, and you have to look at only two types of solutions. The first one is physically to get an antenna to this phone. This is an iPhone. There is no external antenna. There's nothing you can do to connect to that. So you need one of those cradles. So the cradle or the antenna, the phone sits in the cradle, or there's little patch cables or something, and then that has a lead that you can connect to an external antenna. It's not my favorite, but it is doable. Then the real Rolls-Royce method to do is to go for legal, mark my word, legal, and a smart booster. It actually does communicate a little bit with the network to tell the network or this is me, this is where I am. It has to be legal. I'll have a slide on that later, but just go for the self-fires. They are the legal solutions. A few suppliers, a few options in Australia, that Telstra, Optus, that you can get it through them. So the brand is self-fire. That's approved by all the networks, and that will work well. It has a cost implication, as you would maybe appreciate. And then the last one is my favorite. It's a data modem. Data modem meaning either one of the modems you could get from your network operator, or I could say this now because this is my video. The Alpha 4G Cam Pro that's the picture for the Alpha 4G Cam Pro. So you have a 4G modem outside on the vehicle, outside on a building, outside on a yacht, goes through a USB cable into a router on the inside. That's the example, but it's a similar working with all the other modems you get as well. You can connect an external antenna. That's why I said if you drop the voice requirement, this becomes an option. And if this is an option, gives you a lot of flexibility on what you can do, and the budget is much better than without some of the other options. Cradle is my least favorite because it's kind of a bit of ad hoc. There's a bit of guessing that it's going to work. The Selfie is definitely the bee's knees, but you're locked to one operator and it is more expensive. And then a data modem that gives you. Now, next slide. This is me, and I'm getting I'm not going to beat the word. I'm not going to say it, but I got a cheap solution online. What do? Just don't go there. Do not go there. It's not worth it. First of all, if it's illegal, it's not me being difficult. It's not the politicians or the ACMA being difficult. It's a genuine issue. Do not go down that path of going for illegal booster. It is not worth it. You as a customer may have a very bad experience. You can cause a lot of problems for your neighbors who do not know that you have a booster, and it causes noise on their systems. Plus, the network doesn't like it at all. And now, this is why I have this example here, 40 kilometers away. So say you are 20 kilometers in the middle of nowhere. You're 20 kilometers away from a base station. The network thinks you have a strong signal because through this boosted signal, it doesn't know where you are. It just sees the outcome, and it thinks, okay, well, that's what it is. It causes an imbalance because now the network has to treat the other user on the other side of the same network differently, because he thinks, well, this guy has a strong signal, so I'm going to kick this guy off the network or give him poor service. So he could be 40 kilometers away, and he's impacted by you using an illegal booster or a funky booster that's of some brand. If you have a self-fi, at least the network knows this guy down here is on a self-fi. So they know where they are. They can do with the balance planning, and they have a good understanding where it is at. But if you use an illegal booster, I specifically have to call it out here. There's an example of a website there. They sell, it doesn't work. And I had one inquiry, and we agreed on the phone. The guy said, yeah, this thing is giving me trouble. I said, yes, that's why. Then while I was busy with the preparation for my slides, I saw those antennas. It's an antenna that goes into the audio jack of your phone. So magically, your audio jack can convert to an antenna. It can't. It gives me the shits. There we go. I said it. It gives me the shits. The slide is really, this is where I just lose it. And then the last one is on eBay as well. There's a 35 dBi MIMO antenna for $23 on eBay. Impossible. You cannot do 35 dB and have an antenna that big in those frequencies. It is not possible. You're going to buy yourself a piece of junk. I said it. No, I did it. Piece of shit. It's just don't go there. Right, that's it. That's me. Let's go on to positive. What's the simplest way to get 4G? And now I'm going into personal mode. It's my recommendation, what I think works best based on questions I get on a daily basis through RF Shop. I think you should focus on data only. That's just what we offer. So obviously everybody has their own scenario, so I'm open to that, and I'm open to feedback to say, well, this is not going to work for me. That's fine. My opinion, stick to data. Now, a data modem with optional outdoor antenna. There we go. So the picture I have there is a brand of a modem with an antenna next to it. Those two together works really well. So if you already have a modem, if you get a good antenna and connect it to that, you should have a very good connection over a much longer distance than what you could get with your phone alone. Then I slipped the other pictures in there as well for a yacht or a house, a holiday house, or a motorhome, where you can use a device like the 4G Cam Pro or a similar solution, where you basically have a modem on the outside connected to a router on the inside. The modem on the outside is more sensitive, and it is more powerful, so it can give you a better quality signal. Today I was at the Caravan and Camping Show. I did get the question a few times, or comment, people knowing well what to do. So I use my phone as a hotspot. Isn't that any different? That's the same thing. Yes, it is the same thing, but it's like doing the lap around Australia in a swag and a trailer. It works, but it's not the best way to do it. So maybe there's a better way to do this. This is getting a proper system that actually does exactly that. It's a data modem in a weak signal, and it gets you that connection. And then the last one is just, as I said earlier, the exciting times ahead. Not yet, not maybe next year even, but definitely if you look for the satellite options, Elon Musk is doing all sorts of funky stuff. I see, and there's an article from just last week. His Starlink plans is approved for Australia. So there's something going to happen sometime. That's an option eventually. We'd be keeping an eye out for that. I don't have a solution, don't have an understanding. I think the budget there is going to be a bit tight for a lot of people, but it's there. It needs to be considered. Now, away from 4G on Wi-Fi, the same scenario again. I have Wi-Fi. There is Wi-Fi. I can't get to this. I'm obviously throwing a picture of a caravan there because that is relevant. But it could be the same on a yacht. It could be the same in an outside building, a shed or something. Same problem. Wi-Fi Cam Pro 2 is my definite preferred one. But let's say I'm jumping the gun here because my slides are first talking about boosters. Boosters can work, but I don't think they're ideal. They will boost your signal, and that is good. That is something to work with. But if the booster is not intelligent, it might just boost everything in the band, and it also boosts the noise. So that could be a problem. Extenders, there are many of those around. So an extender would basically pick up a signal, rebroadcasts it again. That by itself, I think, is quite a useful outcome. The example there is just one of many that you can put into a wall plug and just do that. But as you can see with the antennas, just an opinion, I guess, the antennas are not adding much value. So you have a little antenna, you pick something up and you just do something funky and you relay it again, but it doesn't really extend much. You probably want to go for the external antennas there. So just have something that actually does something with antennas that is better. So make a better antenna setup, which brings me to my initial comment, the Cam Pro, which does that. So you have a good outdoor antenna with a good outdoor modem, goes through a USB cable, puts a Wi-Fi hotspot or a Wi-Fi router on the inside. So you are working on the inside with one device. My hand is not even on the screen. That doesn't help much. You have one device there that's your router on the inside, and you pick up Wi-Fi on the outside. So between the two, there's a USB link, which works well, and that is able to pick up a weak signal, and then coming in, you have a new Wi-Fi hotspot. The Wi-Fi hotspot that you created is the one that you can move around, and it always is the same. When you go to new locations, you just have to find a new network, connect to that, and back online again. So smartphones, tablets, laptops, PCs, the list goes on, and they can all work that way. Obviously, it's a slide. So do you have any questions? No comments back, but we'll have a look. Now, on this one, obviously, because it's on YouTube, if you like this, if you want to follow us, please like this video. Just comment on this below. Let us know what you think. Follow us on Twitter or Facebook and on Instagram. Send us an email if you have any questions like this one. I'll formalize this video a bit more, but this is just before tomorrow's presentation. This was a dummy run to see how it goes. I want to see how long it takes me. This took me 18 minutes, so it's going to be rush to go through all my slides. But that's done. Thanks for watching. There we go. That's it. That's officially. Thanks for your time.